one of the House impeachment managers, Congressman Ted Lieu of California, joins me now. Congressman, how do you feel about that 57-43 vote? Is there a victory there? Does it feel frustrating that it was not a conviction?
Thank you, Chris, for that question. In most contexts, 57-43 is a blowout. This was not close. An overwhelming majority of both the House and the Senate concluded that Donald Trump incited an insurrection. Unfortunately, a minority of Senate Republicans did not vote to convict, and that's where we are today. But history will record that Donald Trump incited insurrection. There's no question about that. And history also includes 4 years from now. I think this makes it really hard for Donald Trump to try to do anything politically anymore.
Oh, Congressman, I don't know if that's the case, I have to say. I mean, we will see. Lots of things can happen. But let me ask about the witness question. Bluntly, is it true the House managers wanted to call witnesses and the Senate Democrats got you to back off?
So I'm not going to discuss internal deliberations. What I will say is, based on what Mitch McConnell has stated and other Senate Republicans, we proved our case. We showed Donald Trump incited insurrection. They just hung their vote on a willful misreading of their Constitution. We could have brought in Donald Trump, and he could have testified that he ordered the code red and directed a violent attack, and they still would have not convicted him because of their willful misreading of the Constitution, thinking they had no jurisdiction over Donald Trump.
Right. And I actually think that's quite persuasive. I don't think there weren't 67 votes, even if he had I ordered the code red moment in the well of the United States Senate. But when you talk about this sort of history in the record, I mean, I think that part of the thinking here is there's a lot we don't know, and there's a lot that still needs to be presented. Now, maybe you think the impeachment, trial wasn't a vehicle for that, but it does seem that, getting people under oath about the events of that day matters even more broadly than the conviction. What do you say to that?
You're absolutely right. So I fully support Speaker Pelosi's call for a 9/11 style commission. One thing we did see is there is a problem with enforcing subpoenas. So had we tried to, for example, subpoena any witness that was not friendly, they could have held it up in court for months to years. We're still litigating the McGahn subpoena from the very first impeachment. With the 9/11 style commission, I think we can get to the bottom of a lot of these facts. And they're also going to find, by the way, that Donald Trump incited an insurrection.
Were you at all? I have to say, I thought McConnell's routine was quite cowardly and a sort of classic example of him trying to have it both ways. That said, I was struck by the tone of what he said. I mean, he basically conceded you did prove your case. And he wasn't the only one. There were others that made noises somewhat similar, even that they were votes against conviction on this really lame, narrow procedural question.
What was remarkable about Senator McConnell's speech was not only that he sounded like a House impeachment manager for the first half and then contorted himself to explain why he voted to quit, but also basically what he was saying is that he thinks that Donald Trump should be in prison. He is essentially saying the criminal justice system is there to hold Donald Trump accountable. That is a remarkable statement coming from the Senate Minority Leader.
Final question to you. These are strange undertakings. America, we have this kind of mythos we tell ourselves about the kind of civic tradition of debate and persuasion. Oftentimes, American politics doesn't look anything like that, 99.9% of the time. Here was a rare sort of situation where you go into the other body and you try to persuade them. And again, you came out with 7 votes that probably weren't there in the beginning, or maybe what was your sort of takeaway from that experience?
You're right. It is a strange experience. This is not like any normal trial, but it does show me that there are still elements of the Republican Party that will listen to their eyes and ears and not reject the evidence. And so I am pleased that 7 Republican senators voted to convict. And again, we laid out a very damning case, and a vote of 57 United States senators is very damning, and history is going to record this. And when I talk about 4 years from now, I'm talking about specifically about Donald Trump running again for president. I think it's going to be hard to try to convince American people that they should vote for him one more time, even though he incited a violent attack on our nation's capital.
It is strange the degree to which this party has wrapped itself around this loser. It's usually not what happens in party politics. Congressman Ted Lieu, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Chris.